Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Always Open. We are thrilled that you have joined us once again. I'm your host, Barbara Dunkelman, and today on the show, I have two lovely friends with me, starting with Mr. John Reisinger.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. And special guest, Andrew Blanchard.
It's me, right here.
Andy.
Hey,
You're here.
finding my camera.
Yeah, you're right there.
It was red, but now it's green because it's not on me anymore. Now it's the wide.
The green means it's getting set to cut to you. Ooh. I think. I actually don't know. I've worked here for 12 years.
We're figuring it out as we go along.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Barbara.
Your first time ever on Always Open.
First time on Always Open.
John, you've had a couple episode appearances in the first run of the show.
The original iteration, yeah.
But
Is this your first on the revamp?
First time on the revamp.
Hell yeah, revamp boys.
Yeah.
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 Woo!
We did it.
If you're listening on audio platforms, you need to see that awful
That
high
was,
five.
that was the worst high five
I
in
went
history.
forward as you weren't ready to go forward yet, and so I just whiffed it.
I love it.
Because you had such a great clap sync off camera earlier,
did,
and that
I
was
did.
just quite the whiff.
That's because it's just on me. If it's just me, I can look smooth.
I feel like we should put out the pre-show for first members of us getting ready for the show, because there's just like so much chaos that happens beforehand. There's so many episodes of us doing a clap sync and me going to do the clap sync in the middle of the table and completely like missing one of my hands.
Yeah.
We the part of my responsibilities here at Rooster Teeth is I oversee our gaming channel, Inside Gaming now, or I manage it. I say that all because they put together, they record a roundup video each week, and there are so many flubs in it that they were able to make a blooper reel
that's
of
funny.
BK and BK and Blizz Bear.
Yeah.
Has BK been on yet?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
BK and Blizz Bear have been on.
And Jack.
And Jack.
We have
and
all the Inside Gaming people
it's just
on here.
them flubbing, and it's just the most. It's great. It's fantastic. It's why you love bloopers videos. It's just like wholesome giggles and that kind of thing.
It's tough to read a teleprompter. It's a lot.
It is an acquired skill. I will
Yes.
say that.
I remember one time you were doing something. I had to read an ad read for On the Spot. And I was
with my
so
teleprompter?
unnatural doing it. It was like for a watch or whatever, but they gave me sunglasses instead. And I was like, and this watch, it's sunglasses and it's on a watch. And then all the comments were like, it looks like someone's holding a gun to Andy's head. Because I'm just like,
Welcome to On the Spot.
yeah.
On the Spot being my old improv comedy show we used to do here. For those who might not
Wonderful
be familiar,
show. We did a special 20th anniversary version.
We did.
It's been on for 20 years.
No.
Feels like it.
No. Yes, I started
Felt
doing
like
it
it,
when
right?
I was 18.
Whoa.
Wow, don't do the math, people.
Yeah.
watching.
You could do the math. I'm old. But people always ask me, they're like, what's your favorite memories from it? What's your favorite moments from On the Spot? And it is hands down, without having to put a thought into it, is anytime you've ever been on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
It's 100%.
Because it was just a train wreck. It was just I would just try to derail it. Sorry,
but it's a train
I would
wreck.
just try to derail it, and sorry to the crew and everything.
No,
but that
but
was to be my goal.
But
part of fun.
Yeah.
you as a jokey train wreck is
Yes.
like just wholesome goodness for me. I'm someone who I don't watch my own content. I don't listen to my own content because I don't like me. So
I feel like that's going to be this episode's title.
Yeah.
I don't like me.
we're going to therapy, people. We're doing therapy.
Work in
We're working
progress.
on each other.
It's all scaffolding. We're all just working on ourselves,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so
Constantly.
I have a hard time, like we do Tales from Sticky Dragon, and I try to listen to the first episode of our new campaign that just released recently.
Which had like new characters,
new characters,
accents, and everything.
and I was able to get through 20 minutes, and then I had to turn it off.
Aw.
But I don't like watching my stuff. But if I am going to watch anything to give me a smile, as I watch clips from when you were on, because you are funny when you try, and you are funny when you're not trying as well, and not trying to be funny.
I think it's just
Andy,
like my general aloofness. I was like,
You're just a funny guy.
Shit just happens.
There are people who just
you.
have such a natural comedic timing, and I think you're one of those people. Like you could say anything, and just like you just have a way about. I don't know if it's like your speech pattern or whatever it is. Like you're just
It's definitely a
so
weird speech
naturally
pattern. Yeah, it's definitely not normal.
it's a
I just
wicked.
embrace the weird.
Yeah,
It's wicked. Wicked smart voice
wicked
pattern.
smart.
Andy's from
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Speaking of Massachusetts, we've been trying to get you on a show for a few months now.
I was away for a while because I think
like,
we had dinner like
away.
February. You're like, you want to be on Always Open? I'm like, sure. How about April?
Yeah.
It's not even April.
Oh, it's May now. It's May.
And then even when we tried to get you, we're like, okay, you're home now. Like, how about this date? And you're like, my dad's going to be in
My
town.
dad was in town. The first time my dad visited me in town in like 2 years. Great visit.
I'm
But
curious. I would love to hear from
We know.
Barbara. No, I'm not curious anymore. I figured that out.
We'll get to that.
I figured that out. Yeah, by the way, let's address the elephant in the room. You got your 2 bye boys. Are you hitting your bye boys
My
quota
bye
this week?
buys, yeah.
Two bye boys. You worked so hard at getting him here. Why'd you want Andy here?
'Cause I
for
buy
many
boy.
reasons. And we'll get into it on the episode. Obviously, like Andy's been a good friend of ours for a very long time and never had him on Always Open. But you've also gone through some like very significant life
I
changes.
didn't have a lot of sexual experiences during the original inclination of Always Open.
But also like
That was Barbara trying to ramp in,
No.
and Andy's like, "Gas! We're going."
This is the reason. No, it's fine.
fuck now.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't even about that. Like, because especially this iteration of Always Open, we definitely focus a lot more on mental health and
Yeah.
like things of that nature. It's not always about sex and
No.
relationships. We do talk about it, of course.
Joshin.
But I think maybe the first iteration of Always Open, it was definitely more focused on that. So
Sure.
But yeah, I've been wanting to get you on for a
Appreciate
while.
it. Yeah, I've gone through quite the transformation since like my departure here. So I've just
Huge.
like personal growth, a lot of things happen. So
Yeah, and I remember talking to you at the dinner we had back in February or whenever it was.
years ago, it
Years
seems
ago.
like. Yeah.
I was like, you just seem like really happy.
Yeah.
Like more
Yeah,
more
I just, like-
confident in yourself, more just like comfortable in your own skin, just like
Yeah,
everything.
it's just like a mental health thing. Like I definitely, I was on anxiety medication for a while. I was on, it was technically antidepressants, but they were like, antidepressants kind of make you to a zombie. So this is, anti-anxiety turns you to a zombie. So this is kind of something else. So I wasn't clinically depressed, but they gave me antidepressants to help with my anxiety.
Gotcha.
And then I weaned myself off of them. So I'm no longer taking them, but I'm still feeling the positive effects that had on my internal, whatever brain, whatever neural work. But
Yeah, which that can be a goal with
Yeah.
mental health medication, where one of the goals can be to eventually.
I
get
didn't
off
want to
of
be
it.
dependent on medication. It's like I'm not like weird about medication. Like obviously it's a wonderful thing, but it's just like I don't know.
Well, I've heard from other friends who've gone on medication and have
There's
since
like
gone off.
there's a stigma towards it, I guess, but it's
Definitely.
waning down now. It's like modern days, but from
And
back,
again,
it was like
Nothing wrong with having to be on
No,
medication. I think like
always
there is a huge stigma
seek,
towards it.
seek help. Whether it's your
Absolutely.
friends, professionals, family, whatever. If you can't feel like you can buy in your friends or family, go to somebody professional. That's their job, and they'll do it for you. It's like it's great.
Also, like if medication helps you feel like, you are able to function a little better, you're able to cope with things a little better, nothing
It's
wrong
like,
with it.
I'm still in touch with my family therapist. Like I've had a family
Yeah.
therapist when I was like 7 because my parents went through divorce. It was the whole thing. So I went there almost every single week, and
Wow.
then I still call him every once in a while. And like he's been gracious enough to like recommend me. That's who I contacted a few years ago when I was like, hey, I'm going through some episodes here. And he goes, 10 years ago, I would not want you on prescriptions, but now that like the advancements of medicals, science and stuff, it's really, really good. And I recommend this medication for you. I can't prescribe it, but I'm going to recommend somebody who can. And that was a pro bono call. And
So I
it was
have
just,
a question about that, I guess, just because like and this is me just being ignorant on the subject, but are there certain situations where it's like if you do go on medication, it kind of alters your brain chemistry in a way where you could see through the clouds in a sense, and like maybe that opens your eyes to some things, and like you could then go off the medication? Is it something like that, or is it something that you have to keep
I think
up
that was
with?
part of it. It definitely made me have a different mindset on things.
Yeah.
And it definitely made me see things differently and experience things differently. Like I used to fret over the littlest things, like terrible, like retching, gagging attacks. I mean,
Wow.
I still have it sometimes, but it's like whenever John would have me on the spot, love doing it. But I would always like be in my car, like freaking, like how am I? What if I sound stupid? I always did, but it was for the benefit of the show. But what if I made something stupid that didn't benefit to the show, whatever? Like, and I just always like, and whenever I'm in the moment, I'm fine. It was
Yeah.
always the anticipation.
Oh, absolutely.
It was always the
And
anticipation.
I think that's
and it was like little
anxiety in a
things, like
nutshell, right?
any break of the norm. Like I have to go to the doctor's today. I got to go to the post office. Something as mundane as that.
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm shaking about it.
Yeah.
Like even coming to this for today, I was a little anxious, but it was like a normal amount of anxiety. Like I'm perfectly fine right now.
Normal.
As soon as I was
Yeah.
in the office talking to John, talking to Barbara, seeing people, I was like, I'm good.
A level of anxiety that you were able to function through.
Exactly. Functional anxiety, which I think is normal.
Absolutely. The people who don't have any level of anxiety, I question that.
Well, they're
I go-
aliens.
I go, what? How?
That's not how things work.
I have anxiety every time we do this show.
Well,
yeah.
Literally every single time.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult conversation to have about anxiety because anxiety is a human emotion. Anxiety is a normal reaction to have things. Anxiety is something that everyone experiences. It's the level of intensity that anxiety has over you and the level of control that anxiety has over you, which then escalates it to the level of like, diagnosable, constant thing. What you're talking about is something that was you had no control over. It was debilitating to your ability to function.
Debilitating. I couldn't do my normal job duties.
And the fact that you were getting sick.
It
I was literally getting physically sick.
Yeah.
Which I share similar experiences of. I've dealt with, anxiety and depression.
Yeah, and
my
it
entire
just
life.
comes to like a stage frightness, I guess. But like once I'm here talking to friends, I'm good with it. But it's just it's just all to the anticipation because I've been doing content since I don't know the last 12 years, like putting myself out there. So it's just coming to terms with it's just trying to deal with my anxiety, and I feel like I finally overcame it.
I think also just the realization that it's something that helps me with my anxiety, at least from time to time. Sometimes it's like too much to deal with and I have to just like go to sleep.
Yeah.
But just remembering like the only thing that exists is this present moment. And because my anxiety comes from spiraling into scenarios and to like
always come up with the worst case scenario.
Maybe there's a person doing this, or maybe this is going to happen when I do this, or maybe this person thinks this of me and blah, 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 blah. Like, what if? And it's always worst case scenario that I'm thinking of. And I was like, well, the only thing that exists is this present moment. And also, what if I just altered my brain to think best case scenario? Like, what if this goes amazingly? What if people love this? What if this works out really well? And it's just so hard to train your brain.
It is difficult because I always go to the worst case scenario.
Yeah,
because
same.
I feel like then I don't set myself up for disappointment. But then I'm going through what I probably would have if it did fail, but I don't know if it is going to. But I'm still going through that with the anticipation of like it could go bad.
If it does go the way you're anticipating it going, which is bad, then you're having to deal with that twice,
internalizing it by yourself or whatever,
instead of just dealing with it when it happens.
Exactly.
If it happens.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think you used a very smart word there where you said it's a level of you have to train your brain to not do the things it wants to do that are bad. And I think while there's a lot of that can be said about the benefits of medication and the benefits of outside help and that kind of thing, which all should lend towards the process of you having to retrain your brain certain things. I was having debilitating anxiety for a while. For a while there. I still have debilitating anxiety constantly. It is an ongoing process.
Ongoing. Yeah.
But I go to therapy, and I was talking to my therapist one day, and I was expressing to him how much I was frustrated that I am unable to live in the moments of tranquility or good or enjoyment because my brain would go past those already and would go, this will end. Your nice little moment you're having right now is going to end and you will feel bad afterwards. So don't get used to feeling good right now.
Would it ever do the opposite for you?
What?
Of like you're going through something bad and your brain going, don't worry, you'll get through this.
Oh,
and
no,
then
it's not.
No.
Why would it do that?
No.
Because it's a bastard.
Yeah.
And I expressed it to my therapist in one session where I was like, because I telehealth therapy, and so I often go for walks. I go for walks and talk to my therapist.
That's nice.
I found that I talk more in a more relaxed way when I'm walking and there's a little bit of a like
you get
something
other
I'm doing.
things to focus on. Yeah. That makes sense.
So I told him, I was like, I hate that right now. It's a beautiful day outside. This clouds are gorgeous. One of the only things Texas has going for it is we have pretty skies. During the summer, this place is unlivable.
Well, it's like,
it's turning
a
out
hellscape.
It's a hellscape
in a lot of ways. Yeah.
But I told my therapist, I'm like, I'm mad that I
just can't enjoy the
I can't enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
And and we've gone through a process, him and I, of like just that what you were saying, like, what if you did enjoy the moment? What if you gave yourself permission? Like you actually have to like speak that to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you have to coach your own self. Like, no, what if you could enjoy this moment? Like, take it, document it, ground yourself, and that kind of thing. And so that's been an ongoing process of me being able to even enjoy nice things because my brain stopped me from being able to enjoy nice things.
So why can't we have nice things?
Yeah.
Right. All in a nutshell in your brain.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate you guys sharing. I feel like a lot of people watching will be able to relate. And if you have a question about anything for us on the show, anxiety, depression, anything like that, we're always happy to talk about that. You could email us, always open at roosterteeth.com. We do have some questions as well that we'll be getting to a little later on from that email. I want to start with a little icebreaker question.
Fun.
And I thought it would be perfect for you guys because I got my bisexual boys here. What is your favorite drinking vessel? So there's like mug,
What a
cup,
phrasing. What a phrasing.
there's mug, cup, glass, ceramic, plastic. There's bottles with straws. There's like big water bottles with a big opening. What's your drink vessel of choice?
It depends on the drink, honestly.
Ooh, okay.
Water, I have a big like jug-a-lug that I just fill, like that's like, I don't know how big it is, but I drink like 2 or 3 of those a day. It's just a big water bottle I just bring to the gym. I just drink out of that.
Is there a straw in it?
No straw. I don't like straws. Never have, never will. Not a straw boy.
There
Okay.
it is.
Don't come at me with a straw.
That's the opinion.
Don't come at me with a straw. Whenever I get a drink in a straw, put it down on the napkin.
Wow.
And then the test is if I get a refill, if they're
Noticing?
observant,
Yeah.
sometimes they won't give me a straw the next time, but sometimes they do, and it's like, okay, you get 20, not 25%. Just kidding. Just
because they inconvenienced you ever so
I'm just
much.
joking. No, but yeah, it's just little things like that that are nice. But water out of a big jug like that.
What about coffee?
Coffee, well, I just got a new iced coffee maker. So a glass like this,
Yeah.
nice for iced coffee. Or just a
Standard
standard
glass.
mug. I don't like big fancy mugs. I don't have like
What's a big fancy mug?
one that looks like the Death Star, obviously. That's gigantic.
Naturally.
I have one of those.
Naturally.
That's the good China.
I love it that Andy, being a big old nerd, loves nerd stuff. Big Star Wars fan, my Andy. But
I almost wore my Captain America Hawaiian shirt, but I was like, that's too much.
No, that would have been great.
And
next time.
Next time.
you have family that doesn't enjoy those things as much as you, but knows you enjoy them, and so what you end up getting is just the most terrible,
That's one thing I need to-
licensed like tchotchke
It's
stuff. Like mom saw that there was a Darth Vader spatula, and you'll like that.
Here's the thing. This Darth Vader spatula, it's a real thing that I have.
Darth Vader spatula.
The handle is Darth Vader's lightsaber hilt with all these like greebles and things on it. It's just so
it's not
uncomfortable to
smooth.
hold.
Ooh.
It's got
And
all the little bits and bobs
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
just
Like the buttons and whatnot.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so, and it's like hard plastic. It's just not
I
comfortable.
mean, to be fair, how long are you holding a spatula?
you want to be able to like
you
know
still
use it for
want like a
cooking.
good Rubbermaid,
A good grip.
good grip. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like it's nonsense. And like I'm an adult. I love Star Wars, but I don't need a Star Wars toaster, a Star Wars. It's like just give me a regular
An adult.
Bed Bath and Beyond. Going out of business. Go now. Bed Bath and Beyond coffee maker or whatever. Just something generic and normal.
Blaine
Yeah.
broke one of my spatulas once.
How am I not surprised?
In what context?
The context was that
Were they cooking at your place?
They were cooking at my place. They were cooking a Chris Damaris concoction,
As usual.
And Chris, they put too much ingredients in a bowl for like what were they making? They were making.
Was it pumpkin pie?
It might have been the pumpkin pie, and so they
think,
might have been
yeah.
working on like the crust or something.
Yeah.
And they had too much
He
dense
was using
materials
a spatula to mix.
to mix. It was fine, but he snapped.
Clearly, it wasn't.
It wasn't because it was like mixing cement, and he just snapped off the thing.
Did he replace it for you?
We got it on camera and everything like that.
Did he get you a new one?
No, it was a cheap old one. So
He owes you a
Yeah.
spatula. Doesn't
He
care.
he
owes
does
you-
owe me
he
a
owes you
spatula.
$3.50.
He owes me a spatula.
It's a whole spatula.
Well, now that we know what your favorite spatulas to use are, John,
That's true.
John,
What's
do you
your
have
favorite
a favorite
spatula?
drinking vessel?
It's my favorite. I feel like there should be a good answer for this, but I can't really think. I do love. I went ahead during the pandemic when we were all buying things to give us serotonin. I bought
Good times.
the red Pizza Hut glasses.
I was gonna ask if
Oh,
you got
the plastic
the
ones?
like cups that have almost like a texture to
Yeah.
It
them.
was like a stained glass type
It
of
says
Yeah.
like I
mosaic
think
stuff,
it
yeah.
might say Coca-Cola on
Coca-Cola,
it.
yeah.
And so I have those at my house. So it's either those or it's my Alamo Draft
The Alamo
House.
cups are nice.
Before pandemic,
the
Alamo Draft
glasses.
House used to put out with the MCU releases or Disney movies
Star
or
Wars
Star
does them too,
Wars.
yep.
They would have printed, these kinds of pint glasses, but they were printed with fun little stuff on them, and we would get them. They don't do them anymore.
Don't put them through the washing machine.
They do not do well in the wash.
They get faded like this. Like
Yeah.
this used to be like a nice glossy texture, like the Alamo ones. So I tried to hand
It
wash
comes
them.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a mug that Aaron Zek actually gifted me.
Oh.
It is a mug that has like, it's white with like these beautiful floral patterns on it. And on it says, I might be high.
That's cool.
And I just like it.
That's awesome.
I just think it's such a cute mug. And then I also have another one. You know, the artist Sarah Sanderson? She has those comics of like, it's black and white.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
You've definitely seen them. There's a lot of like cats in it too. She also sells like merchandise, including these mugs that have like, oh, like I'm feeling great today. Time to have my morning coffee. And then like it shows this chart of anxiety spiking. And she's like, no, wait, stop. And it just goes around the mug. So great. My favorite one. But I like
me
straws.
after more than 2 cups of coffee. Anxiety comes back.
I know.
Just got to have no more than 2. It's my cutoff.
That's a good amount. Yeah.
Actually, if I were to give my answer, my favorite cup, drinking vessel. Drinking
vessel, thank you.
Is I have gone full dad. And I'm poor dad, so I like to do dad things on a budget. And so now I'm all about going, when I go to the gas station, I go in the gas station.
And you reuse Gatorade bottles for a month?
I get the
Big
biggest Diet Coke possible. And that is my little treat to myself, to have a little soda. And it's a little soda. It's like a bucket of soda.
A barrel of soda.
Like, to talk about things like, you know, I'm constantly seeking things to give my brain a little bit of a spike of serotonin, a little bit of niceness in my day, because I have so much that makes me sad and anxious throughout the day. So I try to interject moments like that. And so I treat myself to a little Diet Coke, and it's like $2. It's like to get just this of Diet Coke is $2, and I love it. That's me.
How much is it bigger than those like liter bottles? Or 2 liter? Are they 2 liters?
It's not as big as a 2-liter bottle.
It's big. Does it fit in a cup holder?
It does, because it has the little narrow bottom part, but then it like mushrooms out, that kind of thing.
America.
Yeah, exactly. The child size.
You could fit a child.
A liquefied child could fit in this cup.
Everyone needs to have their own little vices. You don't want to have too many vices. You want to have a certain controllable
Wait, how many
amount.
is too many vices?
You're getting close.
That's for you to determine.
You're getting close, okay? I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't gamble, I don't do any of those. So I'm like, I get to have Diet Coke whenever I want.
Yes, absolutely, and that is your right.
That is my right.
And there's like no calories. There's something that does something bad to you, but there's no sugar.
Sure.
That fake sugar.
What isn't bad for us these days? Everything is bad.
I do that with like if I go to Whataburger, I'll drink out of like a styrofoam Whataburger cup for like 2 days, just fill it with water.
Yeah,
I'll hold on to that.
That's probably not good.
But do you use the straw?
I think
throw it away instantly.
All right. Well, thank you for the insight.
There you go.
Let us know what your favorite cup is.
Everyone's
vessel.
got a favorite mug. That's an answer everyone has.
Well, there was an episode we put out recently. At this point, it's going to be months ago. Asking what people's favorite fonts was, and people had opinions on their favorite font. All right, we got to know.
That's stupid.
It's just silly questions.
Impact.
It's a good font.
No, at always open with a picture of your favorite mug. Everyone wants to share their favorite mug. At always open with that.
Thank you. Absolutely. Favorite drinking vessel. Well, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that you both have experience with, if you are comfortable talking about it, as much detail as you're comfortable with.
My favorite plate.
But both of you in recent years, John, not way back, but like a few years before Andy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Both of you have recently come out.
Yes. John knew before a lot of people.
That you
were not straight.
I thought you were saying John knew he was queer before a lot of people. I was like, I think I did.
You knew before everyone. So I would love if you guys would kind of tell the stories of you realizing that you weren't straight and like the process of coming out and how that all went down for you. You don't have to go into too much detail, whatever you are comfortable with. I don't mind.
It definitely was like middle school, high school when I realized like, oh, I'm not 100% straight. Like I'm like 70-30. Yeah. And now I'm like, and then like college, I was like, 60-40. And
you're talking about like a attraction to male, female,
yeah.
Kind of
so
thing.
I was definitely like 70-30 straight. Okay, well now it's 60-40 straight. Now it's 30-70 the other way.
Oh wow, okay. So it
probably that's a shift.
Yeah,
it depends on the mood.
Do you have like a preferred label for yourself that you kind of identify
I honestly
with?
don't really care about labeling.
Okay.
It's just like I guess bisexual, but I'm just like it changes by the day. It's just like, whatever. It's
absolutely.
like I'm just I guess fluid, I guess.
Yeah. Well, there's a spectrum.
There's lots of fluids. It's a
nice.
Spectrum. Nice. But it's just like I definitely was like in high school like not getting a lot. They didn't have a lot of girlfriends. Didn't have a lot of this. So I would just go home and I guess just like watch porn. And I was like, more times than not, it would just be men.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, this is kind of cool.
What?
But and then it's just like I kept it to myself for years. I internalized it, even through college. Internalized it, even through starting at Rooster Teeth in 2016. I was still internalizing like inside. I'm like, oh, I'm probably gay or I'm bisexual. I'm not straight, but everyone else assumes I'm straight, or because I'm not open about it.
Yeah,
I'm not always open about it. Thank you.
That's why we do a freeze frame.
Yeah, thank you. But I don't know. It's just, and now I think it comes to post-COVID, getting into talking about earlier the anxiety medication and coming to terms with myself, and it made me a lot more confident, because I don't know if it was cowardice, so I don't want to say that, but it's just like I just felt like I didn't feel comfortable, I guess, in my own skin.
Yeah.
And it just came to terms. I'm like, and then I think it was by Visibility Week or Day or whatever, a couple years ago, I just made a tweet. I guess that was me coming out to like the internet. John knew, a couple other people knew.
And I believe you also in that tweet said like, I'm still figuring things out, but I just know that like I'm not
100% straight. And even then I wasn't even acting on it. Like it took me, God, I don't know. It's like last summer was when I really started like hooking up, like dating, actively going out and meeting people in person and hooking up, as opposed to just doing like virtual stuff, which kind of like, that was like easing my way into it, was like virtually doing stuff. But I was like, I need some real connections. I can't just be inside doing this. I felt like still felt like it was my little secret. And I felt like, screw it. I'm just going to go all out. And I think the first people I came out to, like in person, besides John, was I was already dating a guy for a little bit, and then
She came out to him.
I came out to him. I'm like, hey, by the way, this might seem weird.
So you know.
This might seem weird.
And he was shocked.
Yeah.
Oh my
Could
God.
not believe
okay,
it.
this isn't gonna work.
It was a weird first
He
date.
was only into straight guys.
It was weird.
It just wasn't.
It's a weird fetish. I just couldn't do it. But it was Mike and Lindsay. Like they were in the area. Like, hey, can we stop by? I think I was out of town for a bit, and I would just come back.
Well, they've been like some of your best friends.
They're essentially family at this point. So it was weird. It's like I was just like, we were just shooting the shit. They were in like my kitchen area. I was just talking. I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm seeing and sleeping with a dude. They're just like, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was that. And then
did it make it like the more people you told, did it make it easier and easier to
100%.
Yeah.
100%. There's still some people in my family that still don't know, which is weird.
Is this going to be okay? That this is okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
I don't think they'll see it. If they do, whatever. I'm not hiding from it. I'm just not always open about it. Not to go back to the title, but I'm just like, I'm literally like,
one of the reasons we have this.
Like I'm tired of hiding behind it, so I'm not doing that. I'm just not like shouting it from the rooftops to people. It's like, yeah, you can figure it out, or if you ask me, I'll tell you.
But also, it's your life to live.
Exactly. It's like, I don't want to, like, we don't need to get into it, but like my mother was like, you gotta tell your father. I'm like, nah, I don't need to. I'll tell him what I want to. She's like, you gotta tell him. And I was like, nah.
But the thing is, I always wonder, it's like, why?
Yeah,
you know,
it's like,
and we could get into it. We have actually a very relevant question to that. But I think like there's some instances in people's family or friend circle or whatever it is where if they tell this person something like that, it'll ruin that relationship.
Sure.
And like,
which luckily I haven't had that yet. I haven't burned any bridges because of it that I'm aware of, at least. Except for John.
It took a while for me to get over it.
It took a while, John, to get over it. Took him a bit.
I'm still trying to accept you.
It's fine. Just, he doesn't like me touching him.
Get off.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, again, I'm just not hiding from it anymore. It's just like, it's just who I am. It's just like, I'm tired of, again, hiding from it. I just want to go out and do my own thing and live my life, because it's like, I don't want to let love pass me by.
Right.
And I felt like I could have been doing that. Like, I felt like
love or life.
It's like, I was 30 when I first started dating men, and it's like, and that's probably something I should have been doing in my 20s.
Well, I also think like,
and I felt like I just like, I don't know, not wasted 10 years. I could have been.
You could have been.
But could have covered in shame.
Exactly. And I felt like I'm kicking myself for not, I guess, but I don't know, because it's like, I feel like I'm playing catch up. I'm like, and now I just call it my dirty 30s. Like, I'm doing stuff that people should be doing in their 20s, but I'm just like, whatever.
Here's the thing, and we talk about this on Always Open all the time. There's no timeline for things. And I think like from what my perspective is for you, this is me from an outsider. I feel like everything happened at the right time for you. Like,
Sure.
it took you to a certain point to be comfortable in yourself, to be comfortable with who you are. And then you started, going out slowly and doing
it
these
was
things.
definitely in waves of me.
And I
coming
think
out.
if you, that's your path. And
Sure.
that's like the way I think it works well for you. And like to be like, oh, I should have been doing this in my 30s, or I feel like I wasted time not doing it. It's like, that's fair.
Yeah.
But also, you still learned about who you were in your 20s. You still had life experiences that made
That's
you
true.
who you are today.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I empathize with that a lot because I have a lot of wasted time in my head of wasted years and that kind of thing.
For sure.
Again, something I deal with in therapy to try to forgive myself of that because it's not a helpful feeling to regret time that's gone.
And I just regret not.
Can't change it
because I felt like I was again internalizing it, and I was like struggling with this by myself when I was like stupid. You could have told your friends and your family, and they could have supported you a long time ago. But again, I didn't, and I wasn't. I don't know.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
The truth is, thinning hair is not only common, it's completely normal. And going through it can feel lonely and frustrating. But with Nutrafol, you don't have to just accept it, you could do something about it. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement that has been clinically shown to improve hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage for men and women. All you have to do is take their hair health wellness quiz to get your personalized plan for better hair growth through whole body wellness. I've been taking Nutrafol for a few weeks now, and I could already see the difference. The quiz was super easy to do, and I got these pills that I just take every single day with my vitamins, and my hair feels thicker and fuller and more healthy and just wonderful. So take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair for a limited time. Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code OPEN. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, and use the promo code OPEN. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code OPEN. Hey everyone, we wanted to take a moment to remind you that RTX 2023 is happening this July 7th through the 9th. Join us this summer for a very memorable weekend at our Camp for Indoor Kids. It features over 15 live shows, special meet and greets, exclusive parties, fun panels, and so much more. With guests ranging from your favorite RT groups like Funhouse and Achievement Hunter to friends like Therapy Gecko, the Super Carlin Brothers, and new rock stars, RTX 2023 is an event you won't want to miss. Badges for this 3-day Fun Fest are available for as low as $55. Thank you guys so much for listening once again to us talk about RTX. We're just so excited for the event and to see all of you guys there. So head over to rtxaustin.com for more information about the event and to buy your badges. See you this summer. Well, proud of you.
Thank you.
And like I said before, you seem like so much more happy and comfortable.
Yeah, I am.
This is you.
Yeah, it's definitely like a confidence thing right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, we were talking about earlier, I do wish I could be a little more metrosexual with my attire because I still dress like the straight boy from Cape Cod.
You did say that right before the episode.
Tell me why you feel like you should not look that way.
I wouldn't mind a wardrobe change every once in a while, but I feel like I've been dressing the same for the last 10 years, and I was like, I could use some kind of revamp in the
makeover.
wardrobe. Yeah, I would like I need like a queer eye for the queer guy.
Queer eye for the queer guy.
Which they do. Queer eye, they have plenty of people that are queer on the show.
I think they just call it queer eye now,
it's just
right?
queer
There you
eye.
go, yeah.
We could make some calls.
I need to do that.
See what happens.
Okay. Then I just wanted to make sure because I didn't want it to be some sort of like external force you felt was pressuring you to look a certain way.
It's 100%. And like I just
but
want
if you feel like it would help your
it's like graphic tees, flannel shirts. I'm over it.
As we cut to you in your graphic tee and flannel shirt.
I mean, I'm That's all. I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Because one of the struggles that I've had growing up as a closeted queer and now not a closeted queer was there is, especially my era of growing up, which you guys share a lot of those years with, is the representation was so limited in media, which is where I found, stories to compare my life to or to live my life through and that kind of thing, whether through books or TV or movie. It was so limited in queer representation that when queer representation was involved, it was only a certain flavor of queer.
Yeah.
And that has been a little crack that has slowly opened and is just now in this era of 2023 getting broader, but it's still so narrow compared to the full spectrum of everyone that makes up that wonderful little rainbow flag that we live in. Because all you saw on TV and in movies was a lot of gay men. That was the most initially common thing.
Hardly any bisexual male representation.
It was
in
very
media.
it was either gay or straight.
It was gay or straight. It was
women though. I feel like there was more bisexual representation in media.
because it was men led all those studios.
Right.
And that's what they wanted
absolutely.
to say, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you saw mostly gay men, which that was hard for me to fully connect with because I don't consider myself a gay man.
Dicks are icky, right, Tom?
Dicky.
They're dicky.
They're not attractive. I'll say that.
So that's where I differ.
I know, and you differ, and that's where it is. But I don't think genitalia.
So many different varieties.
I don't think genitalia in general is actually attractive.
Again, agree, disagree.
Yeah, that's me, and that's me. I like everything of waist up, all that. That's great.
But like waist, it's all sea monsters.
Actually, I'm a butt guy too. Never mind. I like asses. Asses are great because they're just a nice little round, beautiful object. Anyways. So you saw that, and then it was like you only saw a certain flavor of gay. It was often the club scene gays or the more flamboyant,
stereotypical,
and the fashionable gays. And I am a quiet little introvert, who's a little nerd who likes comic books and being at home and that kind of stuff. And I just never saw that, because that's a very specific version of person. Again, also no bisexual. I didn't see a bisexual that was like that.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, really.
Well, yeah, and that was part of what
into high school, because I don't think they taught us that in sex ed or anything.
No, because
about orientation.
This acceptance of the spectrum of it all is a fairly new concept in a not only on like an outside the LGBTQ community kind of perspective, but even internally. There's been discord internally in the LGBTQ community of like bi erasure and inclusion of other, parts of that flag, whether it's the trans individuals or it's asexuals or anything like that. It wasn't something that like, I'm a very naive person. I grew up in a very naive upbringing. I had a religious background. I had a conservative background.
Same.
I lived in a very safe, religious white suburban life is what I lived.
Safe for straight people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I lived a very sheltered version of that.
Very vanilla.
Yeah. And so when I came to, feeling those feelings like you were describing of being like, am I not straight? That kind of thing. It was confusing to me because I phrase it this way. No one told me bisexual was an option. Yeah. No one told me. Because it was either gay or straight, and then there's a bunch of other weirdos. That's kind of how it was portrayed.
So
Steak
if you're
or
feeling
fish.
for both, you're just like, what am I? What is going on?
I was confused is what I was.
Yeah.
So that was that I don't know where I was going with that, but
tell
it's
us
just
about
a constant state of confusion.
Yeah. Tell us about also like you coming out and like when you felt comfortable to do that and like that process for you, because that also was in your 30s, correct?
It was in my 30s.
Yeah,
it was in my 30s. I mean, I grew up with a religious upbringing that was very, like I said, conservative, traditionally minded, and like I have very specific instances that I don't think my parents meant to do this, but they're like not much. I don't want to just call it to my parents, but the community we were involved in made reactions to instances of seeing like men holding hands walking down the street that programmed into me that was bad. But also there was plenty of other things that growing up in a religious world was programmed to me to just think is carte blanche bad, that I realized I'm like, oh, it's like, that's not the case. Like, alcohol is not just inherently bad. Being gay is not inherently bad. Even sex was told to me was bad. And so that created a very unhealthy relationship between me and all those desires.
It's almost as if when you try to suppress people's feelings and thoughts and emotions and identity,
they really lean into it.
They really want to rebel.
I'm saying that, lean into the rebellious.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, and I rushed into a marriage when I was younger as well, because that was also what was expressed upon me, or at least that's what I had taken in.
Did you have premarital sex at all?
No, did not.
Yeah.
We we've fooled around a little bit, but it was
Then you had to do the Hail Mary and the rows of beads after each.
that's Catholicism.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Which one were you?
Did you say the rosa beads?
Whatever. So much I know. Rosary beads.
There you go. There you go.
Which one were you? Episcopalian?
Just non-denominational Christian. So a little bit of like Southern Baptist with a little bit of
That sounds like the
liberalism in there.
bisexuals of Christianity. They don't know where they fall.
And so I rushed into a marriage because I thought I needed to hurry up and get married and live a very traditional lifestyle of that, have
Procreate,
kids,
yep.
that kind of thing. And so even in that marriage, I never felt comfortable being honest about that with my partner. It was a very unhealthy relationship. It was a very toxic relationship. It was a very abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that feeling that any of my community was going to be okay with me saying like, hey, I'm a bisexual. You guys okay with that? Because it was Christian church. I was very involved in my church. I went to a private Baptist university for my degree. I was like 2 steps away from probably going to like something like seminary to be like a youth pastor or something like that. Cause I really loved working with youth. And so it wasn't until like I kind of like as I could feel that marriage ending, I was like, okay, well maybe when that ends and I finally get released from that, I can be honest about this. And that's basically how it worked out. Was I got divorced, and then I was able to like I felt that I had the opportunity to finally be a little honest. And I think it came out to you first. I think it was at our friend Bernie's house.
Was it?
Because I was
Yeah.
house sitting, and I came out to you.
I think it was like in like the back, like the side alleyway of the house.
Something like
you
that.
Like we were walking and you like stopped me.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
You're
I
like,
want to
come
talk to you
here.
guys in
Turn
there.
off the lights. I gotta tell you something.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Which is funny because like if you came out to me first, Andy came out to you first.
Yeah.
Who's gonna come out to you first, Andy? I guess we'll find out.
Any takers?
Anybody in the studio
Anyone
right now?
It's a safe place. It's a
Got
safe
some
place.
things to share. And so, yeah, I think it was you, and I think it was Patrick Salazar here at the office was like the second person I came out to, because I was like, okay.
You came out to me on a panel after we kissed.
Oh, did I?
That was when you came out
Did
to
I?
me. Yes. When I said.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah, when we did the Yu-Gi-Oh panel and then we smooched or whatever, and you're like, and I
Did
said,
you say back to me too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
That's
that
when
now.
that's when I
remember
came
that.
out to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
It was on a panel really close to
Soft
some
launch.
microphones.
Yeah, really, it was. It was
like-
probably not the most
John was
secure.
like, I'm bi. Me too. Oh, hey, everybody.
That was actually not an uncommon occurrence I found in coming out to people. Was
Very nonchalantly almost.
Well, not the nonchalant part. Was that you are not the only instance where I told somebody I'm bi, and they came back out to me and they went, "Oh, me too." Like, because I think there's
It's immediate comfort.
it's immediate comfort.
Yeah.
It is you are putting down
There goes the barrier.
Yeah, you're putting
Yeah.
down a stake and you're going safe zone, safe zone.
It's the same thing that happens if you're like, can I gossip about someone real quick? This person is a dick, and
Oh, yeah.
and they're like, oh my god, I know, and you're like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh thank God, we can talk about this.
Well, they have to like ease into it. Like, how do they
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
about this person? Oh, they hate this person too. Excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah. So yeah, it was. I felt mostly comfortable coming out here in the office because for all the tumultuous story that is this company, it's always been a place I have felt safe being open about like my queerness.
Yeah.
And I love that our company now is just rampant with a bunch of queer people.
I feel like the majority of people who work here.
Well, the funny thing is that
It's the straight minority.
it's
I think, honestly, yeah.
we're probably not quite there, but we're evening out.
It might be half and half.
Is that as a dad,
Nice.
I now have
Bye.
I have kids that are older now. I have a 13-year-old. No, I have a 12-year-old who's about to turn 13. Close.
You scared me first.
I'm 2 months away from having a 13-year-old. And I have a 10-year-old as well. And
oh my God, both double digits.
yeah, I know. I'm so ancient. What I've realized in talking with them about their experience of growing up is that the generational issue of being open about queerness, it is dying off.
Yeah.
Because while it was highly awkward and uncomfortable to talk about, even the spectrum of it all, the bisexual side, much less being able just to say I'm gay. The kids now they accept the fluidity of it all, the figuring it out of it all, the thing, what you're talking about, it can change. You can still like, say you're something right now, and then a year later be like, actually, I identify as this. Even here, Blizz. was open about a change in like how he had part of his identity.
I think it was an episode of Always Open we did where he almost had that realization of like, oh, I think I might be this.
Yeah.
Like just talking about it and hearing other people's stories and like being able to relate to other people's experiences. Sometimes that helps you figure out more about yourself.
Sometimes talking through it or seeing it out, it's like, oh, it really.
I identify with that.
Yeah. And I don't think that like it's gone. I'm not saying like, hey, mission accomplished. This ain't George Bush on an aircraft carrier kind of moment. But this is the level of nonchalantness attached to that experience is heartwarming because
it's just not a big deal to them.
Like my eldest came out to me like a few years ago. And she was just so like, honestly, I'm sure she felt like very comfortable with her dad. Although
Does she know you're?
I've never been fully open with them about it.
They
like
know.
Never an explicit. They know. That's what I figured was that like, I didn't think there's going to be a point where they were like, Dad's really straight, because they're just not going to do that.
I've seen your decor.
And your fashion choices.
My fashion choices, my mannerisms, that kind of thing. And but like, you know, and she even at one point went through, I don't mean this in a mean way, she went through a phase of experimenting with different pronouns. And I guess she landed towards going back to she, her kind of thing. But like, they're just like, yeah, we're figuring it out. Just like I'm figuring out what my favorite video game is, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so that's heartening to me to be able to experience that in real time of like, okay, it is getting better. It actually is. Again, I graduated in 2002. That was not the case. It was all
high school.
It was yes,
college?
high school.
Okay.
Graduated high school in 2002.
He's older than us.
I'm very old. There was, you know, it was nothing but toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
It was nothing but like I myself used gay as a derogatory term multiple times.
I think we all did.
Yeah,
I mean, that was just like languages and like all that stuff changes so drastically, especially in the last 10 years.
When you're, from my experience, being a confused, closeted little queer boy, I wanted nothing but to be accepted and to feel like I was in. And what I saw was that toxic masculinity and being mean about that, and even using slurs like that against people in a negative way helped me be part of a tribe that I was desperately trying to find, because I couldn't find the other tribe because I didn't know what other tribe I was supposed to be a part of.
Or if they existed, they felt the same way as you, where they wanted to hide it and suppress it.
It's not like my personal activities in my social group was going to offer like, oh yeah, there's the queer kids over there you can go hang out with and feel involved. Like they were nowhere. And again, that's probably why here at Rooster Teeth I felt like it's like, oh, they're here. There's one right there running broadcast. No, not you, Sarah. I'm talking about Patrick, the big gay.
Also Sarah.
But you were part of the inclusion. Yes, you were. Yeah, I know. I'm saying
a gay.
I'm saying John,
I'm also a gay.
I'm saying when John came to Rooster Teeth, just even like, you know, the fact that, you know, Patrick was here and I had such a close relationship with Patrick through my show On the Spot.
Yeah.
That was adding to feeling open about it. And there was plenty of other instances. I don't want to just make it like Patrick's the only one who made it feel comfortable. Even like Lindsay coming out as non-binary and that kind of thing. And just the more and more that we've had that here, that's what made me be like, oh, this is where I can be safe. I can be safe here and come out here. I came out here before I came out to my family. I came out to my family eventually, and they were very accepting. In fact, I've said this before. My favorite response was that my mom and I are the typical queer son and mother, where we're the closest with each other. And I got on the phone with all of them, and I was telling my mom, and I was like, "Mom, blah blah blah, I'm bisexual." And she's like, "I know. Are you going to ask me about my day?"
That's sweet.
The most mom response.
Yeah. Again, you joke like, you know, my kids, like they know, like my mom knew also.
Yeah, that's what my mom was like. Yeah, I knew. Yeah, I knew a long time ago.
Moms know. Dads will deny it maybe a little bit. I'm not saying mine
my
did,
dad was like, my dad was still like, because he was just visiting. He's like, you got to find yourself a conservative girlfriend. I'm like, I got a couple things to break down.
Yeah.
Couple things not going to work out there in that sense.
Yeah.
I think he knows, but I think he's just like not accepting it. But it's
that's what I'm saying.
I guess
for some,
like he doesn't like he was trying to set me up with every female bartender we went to.
He's trying. It's
like
a desperate plea.
It was a joke, but he was like, "Oh, she's cute." I'm like, "Mm-hmm."
He's just really trying.
Yeah. But so it's fine. Sorry, Dad.
He tried.
Fine effort.
Thank you guys for sharing that. We have a question that is very on the nose for our discussion here. It's a bit long, so strap in. I'm a 26-year-old male, and about 2 years ago, after lots of soul-searching, self-reflection, and listening to shows like Always Open, I learned to accept the fact that I am bisexual. I grew up in a very traditional religious and Latino household. I was raised going to church every Sunday, and LGBT people were always spoken about negatively, although I did know a couple of people who were openly gay growing up. Even though I have identified as bi for 2 years now, I've only come out to 4 people, 3 close friends, and my girlfriend. I still identify as Christian, and I am very involved with my church, although nobody who goes to my church knows about my sexual identity. To make everything more complicated, I am very involved in my church. Prior to the pandemic, I was on the worship team, volunteering with Awana.
Yeah, Awana.
Which is a kids' church ministry.
Yeah.
Participated in a group to revise the mission and values of the church, and finally ended up serving on the church board. I am in year 1 of a 3-term on the board, which has 7 members. My church is non-affirming and has policies stating that they believe marriage is only between a man and a woman. I am not sure what the right decision I should make is. Should I try to finish out my 3-year term and do what I can to make things better for LGBT people in the church by holding onto my position and trying to be a voice that pushes for more inclusion in the church? Coming out means I will likely have to step down from all of my involvement with the church. I will have to deal with the drama with my family, and I'm not sure how my friends in the church will react. I'm afraid that being honest will just result with me being pushed out without making any positive change where I am. I know this is complicated without a clear answer, but I would appreciate your thoughts on the subject.
That's heavy and very complicated.
Yes, but a great question. And
that is quite the dilemma.
Yes.
It's...
I'll say one quick thing about we can dive into a lot of that, but I'll say one quick thing about coming out. I'm of 2 minds with coming out of the closet. I think everyone should absolutely come out of the closet, and that I say that from experience of someone who held it in for so long.
It's like you got one life, shoot your shot.
Yes.
And
You
also,
like.
Look how much happier.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just being yourself, being your true self.
It's literally, it's like, I don't want to say it's like ripping off a Band-Aid, because I mean, there's a couple ways you can do it. Like you said, you could stagger it out, or you can just do one big. It is an
indeterminate, varying level of that leap of faith is what it is.
It's true.
Sometimes people are stepping down a little step, and it's just like, that's all it is. Some people are jumping down into a well of, the
not knowing how deep it is.
complicated quagmire of what could result in it. And so I'm of the mindset, like, everyone should come out of the closet, and I encourage everyone to be open about yourself, true to yourself internally, and true to your people that care about you, because those who care about you and don't know that aren't caring about the full you. I'm also of the mindset, there is no rush in coming out. It is your timeline. It is your story. When you feel comfortable doing it, do it. So because there's pressure on both ends of like people going like, because we have like things like coming out day, and we have so much of the queer community that tells people
that's
like,
what got me.
Yeah, it did.
Social media pressure.
But I fear that the other side of it is not as often emphasized. It's not completely non-existent, but it's like your time. It's your time.
Yes.
This is just like I'm saying, it's your story to live. It is your story to live. All that said, like the religious part of it, that is so complicated. I understand that. Yeah. And as someone who like grew up in that and is no longer practicing in that, and is a full on like went down the path of like I'm an atheist. I don't believe any of that anymore. I have a little bit of a biased opinion on it that I'll call out, because I am an atheist, and so I don't see the benefit of that connection you're still having. But I know that connection like that can still be beneficial. Connection like your community and your church people and your friends, because often it sounds like this person's describing as like these are people that they've grown up with. These
it's
are
like
people,
a community.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's very, very close with them too.
And I know from experience, like it can be scary to abandon that, to go rebuild a new one that you don't know where you're going to find it. I lucked out that I got Rooster Teeth.
You had a good support network.
I had a good support system,
and that's key.
And I don't live with my family anymore, so there wasn't even that pressure of having to be like closeted while they were here. I live in Austin, Texas, which is a very
I feel like even though my family was pretty open about me coming out, I felt like it was definitely easier being separated away from them and being on my own.
Because you don't have to every single day
having to look at them and be like, oh, hey, by the way, same old deal. But it's, I don't know. It's like just growing up conservative, not as religious as you, obviously, but it's just a whole can of worms. Like I didn't know who to come out to, or even if I was ever going to come out, because that's just how I felt in my 20s. But somebody who's like so deeply involved with your church, that's tough. But on the other hand,
because that is the people.
But on the
you.
other hand, these people already know who you are, and I feel like you telling them that you're bisexual isn't going to change that.
Well,
It shouldn't.
But I don't want to.
The church is.
Yeah, I don't want to gloss over the reality is that, you know, there's a good chance that if you come out to this kind of a group, especially in the position of like leadership that you're in, you are going to get reactions that you're not going to want. Yeah. But that is not your responsibility.
There, in this quote, we did have to cut it down a little bit because it was a very long question, but he also did mention, I remember saying that he did come out to someone else at his church who he felt he was friends with, and they completely just like disowned him.
Yeah.
And we're like, I don't approve of your lifestyle. Yeah. Like, we can't be friendly anymore. Like, this is not.
And that's where, I mean, we don't dig into it, but that's where my main issue with religion comes from. It's just the prejudice. It's just like people just like not accepting people for who they are. They can't help it.
Especially in a way that it does not affect you at all.
Exactly.
It's just them living their life.
Somebody's sexual orientation should have no impact on who and their responsibilities or duties. Whether
yours
it be
impacts me all the time.
And obviously,
it's true.
There's a whole lot to get into, and it's a very controversial subject, so we won't get into it. Because like with especially the Bible, I think there was something that happened in 1946 where it was translated but mistranslated to the word homosexual.
Oh, they're
like nowhere in the Bible does it say that like God hates the gays.
I think it was mistranslated from like a pedophile. Essentially.
Oh, okay, it is. I can speak on that a little bit more of that. You are 100% correct that it's been, you know, whether it happened in 1940, but exactly. But that's a problem I have with the religious doctorate today is that it is in fact based off of I've been reading a book that actually goes back into the far past history of the documentation of the text for the Bible and everything. And we're talking about stuff that was based off of stuff that someone said, that someone heard someone say, that someone heard someone say based off of document that someone lost at some point. That is the level of disconnect.
It's a broken telephone.
It's a bad game of telephone.
So, but that doesn't help this person because that's like an understanding of like, you know, you can you're right. This is
more my personal frustrations with something like that having such a grand effect on people's lives.
So much of that has been based around like the exertion of power and domination over individuals, because that extends beyond even queer people and extends into women, that extends into people, anything that's the other.
Yes.
Anything that was the other than the people that were in the position of power. And that's often how religion, in all religions, well, not all religions, I won't say that's hyperbolic, but a lot of religious systems exercise that. Not all of them. There are some great religious people. There are some great religious systems out there that provide a great service. And I also understand that this person who's going through this, like, they don't want to completely, you know, cut ties with a support system, because that's something I do have now that I'm getting to this age where I'm a little bit more nostalgic about certain parts of my life. Now that I've gone far enough away from the dumpster fire that it was, is that there is a level of like, it was nice having that support system of just like people and resources and just things that were there for you. And so I can understand that there's so many levels of fear that can be involved with losing that, especially if you're saying this person did come out to somebody and they exercise their worst.
So it
fear.
kind of gave them like shell shock, essentially, of just like not feeling comfortable enough to do that on a bigger scale because of that one individual.
That's not the good first response you want.
So I agree with John that I feel like you should absolutely come out, but definitely on your own terms, whether it's now or after this third term of your serving this board or whatever. I still feel like it's healthy because you're going to feel like a huge weight lift off you and you're really start to enjoy your life if you're not already. I assume you are. But I felt like there's just the whole stigma towards it. Like you said, there's somebody already cut you off. That sucks. But not everyone's going to do that. Right. You know, it's just like you can't just have that one individual mindset, have it affect everyone else you're going to tell, because it's not like that.
Well, I think I think everybody needs to take some time to think about what is the best version of my life where I'm happy. And be open to versions of that might be scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like coming out of the closet, possibly getting a little ostracized from some of your support system, or getting, losing some of the positions that you're in that you enjoy, helping with in your community. But just because those things happen doesn't mean you can't live a happy, better life post that.
Yeah. I obviously have different perspective because I have not been through any of this. I have never grown up like in a super religious family. I've never dealt with like trying to come out in a religious situation. So obviously take my advice and my thoughts with a grain of salt. I will just say my opinion on it. I agree with you guys. I think trying to find the version of yourself that you could be the happiest and most content with yourself. If you feel like, you know what, I want to come out. Like, I'm ready. I want people to know who I am. But I don't want to get ostracized from this church or a group of people in the church or be kicked out of this committee or whatever it is. And that's the only thing stopping you. I feel like that's for the best if you aren't part of that anymore. Because in my opinion, life is so fucking short that if you are not spending as much time as you can being your most authentic self, true to yourself, happy with yourself, happy with the people around you, and accepted by the people around you, that life and those people are not worth your time.
It's true.
And I know it's tough with religion because people are so,
so ingrained in their day-to-day lives.
Right. And it's so like very important to a lot of people. And I don't want to diminish that, but it's
just like,
your
again,
life.
it's the hypocrisy of it. Like, I mean, we don't have to go into it, but it's just like spreading the word and love of God unless you're gay. Or, it's if you're
born
straight,
different.
if you're born different, then we don't want it. But everyone else except the word of God. It's like
it's very backwards.
It's just
there's also like there's a level of joy you can experience post coming out that you couldn't experience prior, and you are going to find fun in your life. You're going to find joy. You're going to find brightness in your life that you in ways that you were completely. Not completely, but you were in certain ways cordoning off yourself from experiencing.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, I'm sorry, just on a very specific level, when Andy and I get to be catty little gay bitches together, those are some of the happiest moments of my life. When we get to be just
go
a bunch of
Starbucks runs and just judge people in the park.
When we get to just be like,
bring me sometime.
Yeah, I would have been, I consider Andy my best friend, and he would have been my best friend if he'd been a big old straight heterosexual. But whenever I've made these connections, and Andy's a great example of connecting with other queer people, it is a fulfilling connection that I have never experienced with specifically, the straight members. Like, I love
you could touch me.
Everybody. I love all of my friends and everything like that. But it's like you get to see another color when you get to connect with the queer community.
Just another level of comfort.
In an open way.
Right. It's a deeper understanding of each other. Yeah. And I also think that, if you're still very dedicated to your religion, and maybe this is just not the church for you, because I know there's also churches that are more accepting of LGBTQ people and like more open to that kind of lifestyle and have more people within the church who identify that way. So maybe it's just a matter of finding a church that
whether that means
feel safer in,
coming out and severing ties and going to another church, or just going out an Irish goodbye, going out the back door, but they're going to wonder where you went. So I feel like it's going to come up regardless anyways. So I would say on your own terms, definitely come out, because that's the best thing for you, I believe, at least. And whether you stay on this committee or not, do it after the committee, find a new church, find new people that'll accept you. I feel like that's the best thing for you, honestly. Absolutely. It just sucks that it's just a shitty situation to be in, but it's like, you can't help it,
We're sending you strength.
You can.
Sending you strength.
And anyone else?
Oh, I can help it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wonderful question, and we do appreciate the vulnerability it takes to ask a question like that.
It was heavy.
It's a tough one. But yeah, we're sending you love and strength, and hope that everything goes well for you and that you're happy ultimately.
Be safe. Do it in a safe way.
And if you have a question for us for the show, for any future episodes, you could email alwaysopen@roosterteeth.com. We would love to hear from you. Andy, John, thank you so much. That's our episode.
We did it.
Yeah.
We solved everything.
We did it.
I appreciate you guys
Everyone's gay now.
Coming out. Obviously, John, people could find you over here at Rooster Teeth, but anything else you want to plug before we end the episode?
I'm a little nerd. I have a nerd podcast that I do on my own time called Class of X. Andy's been on it.
I'm gonna be on again.
You on it.
Yeah, please.
I'm gonna have Andy on it again. It's just a podcast I made because no one will talk to me about X-Men, so I force my friends to read X-Men, and then I force them to talk to me about it.
It's called Class of X.
Class of X.
I'm gonna need your Marvel Unlimited password because I got rid of it.
Could people find that on podcast platforms?
You can find that anywhere on podcast platforms.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I would love for people to join me there.
Absolutely. And Andy, where can people find you? Anything you want to plug?
I'm on Instagram, Andy.Blanchard, I believe. I don't even know. Or Andy the Blanch on Twitter. I might start streaming again. No promises, but I might do that. Just gonna do something. So.
What's your Twitch handle, just in case?
I think it's Andy Blanchard. Andy Blanchard.
Okay.
We'll find it.
You'll find it.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say I'm a huge fan of Andy streaming. I want Andy.
I don't like to stream by myself. If I can do co-streaming, I'll do that. I can't do a solo stream. I'm not like Michael Jones where I can just talk and support thing. I can't do that. I work better on like off.
Okay, I'd be happy to play some games with
Let's
you.
do it.
I love you streaming.
Thank you.
I secretly want you to be happy, and I want you to do a level of like content creation that makes you happy. And if it's no content creation makes you happy, do that. But I like Andy content,
Thank you.
I'm here to consume.
I was kind of fading into obscurity for a bit, but I kind of dipped my toe into it again. Dip my toe into it again.
I'm sure people will love that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for watching this episode of Always Open. We will see you next week.
We still in? Oh, okay. Fade to black.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that episode of Always Open. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment below, and make sure you're subscribed to the All Good No Worries YouTube channel, where you can see this show every single Tuesday, as well as other fun shows every Thursday, including Let's Blend with two friends doing their makeup and having a good time. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.